Hey everyone. This week on the pod, we got Danny from Headcount and we got Greg from Take Offense. And we're going to go through our favorite clubs or our favorite spots to see bands or to play, because we all play in bands as well. So it's a fun pod of us shooting the shit. It goes pretty long, and I hope you enjoy it. If you would like to support the podcast, please like, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Please share the podcast with your friends on social media, or give them a call or shoot them a text. Let them know there's a hardcore punk rock podcast that focuses on California hardcore. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can go to patreon.com/185 miles south and become a Patreon. These people support the show monthly, and I'm starting to do more Patreon only podcasts where we dive like behind the episodes, and I talk about some more of the music, and we go through some of the music and so forth. So hopefully there's more material coming out for those guys. And they hold the pod together by helping out with a little bit of money every month and keep it going. So big shout out to the patrons, and let's get this pod going.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
What's up, everyone? All right, we are live. I will have already done the intro by now, so I'll have to do another intro.
You need to cue in that Bill O'Reilly "fuck it, we'll do it live" thing on the little MPC pad you got there.
So you heard him, you know who it is. That's Greg from Take Offense.
What a...
We also got Danny from the band Headcount.
Yo.
7-inch out on Safe Inside?
Yeah.
Is it out already?
Yeah.
You better get that, fool. Order that record from Bert. Put some money in Bert's pocket. And let's get Aaron another off-road vehicle, huh?
How many does he have?
I think just one.
Okay, yeah, he needs two.
But dude, I know you can break your car real easy doing that shit.
Absolutely.
You know? I'm just two-wheeling it, and that shit's scary, dude. I went out to these, like, Aguas Thermales. Like, it's like 30 minutes east of Ensenada. It's like the natural hot springs. And, like, they always lie down there, like, oh, it's only, like, 7 kilometers off the road. That shit was, like, 10 miles to the spot where you turn off onto a sketchier road, and then it was 10 miles from there.
Okay.
It was like, you motherfuckers. It was fucking terrifying. But it's fun on the way back because you know what you got to deal with. But on the way out, when you're on, like, those roads, it's fucking scary. But if, you know, get some more Patreons, maybe I can get a four-wheel drive one day.
You deserve it.
I won't be as scared.
The least that could happen off this podcast is you getting enough scratch to have an off-road vehicle.
Well, yeah. So anyway, this week we're always brainstorming ideas of fun stuff to talk about, because these are the more light-hearted podcasts when we get together and shoot the shit. And one of the most crucial things in hardcore, obviously, is the clubs we go to and our favorite venues to see bands at. The three of us here are all in bands, so our favorite places to play, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is a list. It's like the first song thing where I think almost everyone's going to have a different opinion. There might be a staple or two, but the staples are probably completely regional to where you live. You know, like whatever city you live in. And so we got top fives, and then I got a long-ass list of like 40 other clubs I really like. So, and then we'll go through, because Greg's been a fucking animal for 10 plus years now of playing everywhere in the country, plus Europe, plus where else? What, Europe, Eastern Europe?
Yeah.
Have you gone to Japan yet?
No, haven't yet.
Dude.
Trying to figure that one out.
Hey, someone's got to hook that up. Let's Take Offense to Japan. You know, what do they got to do? They got to put out 5 LPs? What the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I don't know. My man Danny here hasn't been no slouch either. He's
Yeah, we did Europe, some dates in Mexico, but
Yeah.
no Japan for us either.
Was this with Headcount or was it with another band?
Drug Control.
Oh, with Drug Control. Where did you do the Renee circuit in Mexico?
No, we just did a few shows. There was this DIY fest called Chaito Fest down in Mexico City, so we played that. And then we played Monterey, and then just another spot down in Mexico City.
Was Monterey really hot or really cold?
It was hot as fuck when we went, but it was like close to summertime, so.
Yeah, because it's in the hills, but it's like south of Texas, right? And landlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really built up too because they have I know they got a big college in there and there's a lot of industry. I think they got like automotive plant in there too.
I think it's the third biggest city in Mexico.
Yeah, and I mean we played it on the Renee circuit. Shout out to Renee here.
Shout out to Forza Booking.
That man has brought all your favorite bands down south and more. But yeah, I remember we played Monterey too. And yeah, we played just some gnarly punk squat. But what was crazy about it was, I guess there was an election the next day. So they banned like the sales of alcohol the day before. So I guess people don't get, I don't know, it's probably some weird.
Yeah, so you're not drunk at the polls, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sure, so you can't maybe voter persuasion. But so that doesn't stop from everybody from absolutely stocking the fuck up like the couple days before. So we played this like it was one of those like it was like a recording studio / squat / who knows in front of like a 7-Eleven and just some cuddy place over there. And it got so fucking loose with the crowd where like dudes just turned into a big brawl and then chased the fool into a 7-Eleven across the street and just fucked this dude up in a 7-Eleven and then trashed the 7-Eleven.
Oh, man.
We were just I was just watching across the street and I was like, that's the first time I've seen like a 7-Eleven get vandalized. And it broke my heart because why? Because it's such a great fucking convenience store. It's got everything you need.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I get it, chaos, but...
Well, especially there because you can like pay all your bills in there.
Yeah.
You can pay your phone bill and shit in the 7-Eleven or the OXXO. But hell yeah, shout out Renee and fucking
7-Eleven.
Yeah, 7-Eleven, the whole circuit. So, should we jump in?
Yeah.
All right, let's do. Did you guys rank or did you just do 5 in no particular order, Greg?
No order, man.
All right,
Yeah, no order for mine either.
I'm ranking, dude. I like that shit.
You rank it.
Yeah, I'm going. My number 5 ever is the PCH Club in Wilmington, which is close to Long Beach. It's like the industrial area there. And this was a club. There's a dude named Alex and some other dudes that did it. And it was just like a room. And the setup was really weird. Not ideal, but like the vibe was ideal.
What years was it active?
Maybe like 98 to 02, I would guess. The stage was probably like 6 inches. It was pretty wild because like in those days, like right before Ingatro and then for the start of Ingatro, we used to like do what we called a nard pile, which is just like toss a singer on the ground and then do a dog pile on him.
Classic.
And yeah, it was classic until like we had a couple that were like really dangerous, you know, like
Dude, that shit getting smushed like that.
yeah,
is
when you got
no
like
joke.
that many dudes on top of you and there's no like way to tell someone like, okay, I actually need to get up now, you know? And like I was scared as fuck. We did this one at PCH and like half my leg was on that 6-inch stage and half was off and I was on the bottom and I'm like, dude, my shit's just gonna snap now.
I had the same terrifying moment when PC filmed the third video at Che.
Okay.
Whatever the song that he says dual hose bongs wars in, but straight up it was like a huge pylon and like that kind of like your leg hanging off.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was gonna snap.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I've never had a limb snap, so, but I just assume there's no warning. You don't feel it like bending first; it just goes pop. So
Yeah, it's just gonna go.
yeah, but anyway, so a shit ton of bands came through at that time, and that was like the time when like the Showcase Theater was like the shit. There was also a little more of a barrier of entry to play the Showcase. More established bands, or maybe like if you're local there, you know, you can play on like a Thursday or something. But there's like a lot of bands play there, and it was just not easy if you're just some little band.
You were saying on some of the older pods that on those showcase bills, didn't they like stack the fucking lineup so you just had to wait?
Yeah, it was brutal. They'd put like 8 bands on a show, and there was ins and outs, but every time you went out, you had to pay $3.
Oh yeah, that
So-
was the fucking worst.
So it is basically like no ins and outs, because if you're fucking 17, like you don't got $3 to go outside every time. You know what I mean?
It was every time, not just once. Damn, that's fucked.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you didn't get like a special stamp. So like, oh, now I have in and out privileges. So it's like, I think you gotta like show your stamp and pay $3 to get back in the door. I don't know. I never actually did it.
secretly thinking about that right now for all our forest dwellers.
Actually, you know, the Shea might actually be a good idea. Just to cut down on that.
A joint tax, dude.
Oh, the TP's gone from the woods. There's not as many forest dwellers now.
Oh, when did the teepee go?
Shit, it's like at least 8 years ago now.
We'll build another one. We built the shelves. We'll build a teepee.
Yeah. So anyway, the PCH, still a shit ton of bands came through. Like, you know, of course, like the Kill Your Idols, the Nerve Agents, like the people on that circuit. But you also had like some of the bigger metalcore bands, like Turmoil came through off the second record, which was like their breakout record.
What was the cap on it?
Well, it was weird because it was like 2 skinny rooms. It was actually very, very similar to how Soda Bar is.
Okay.
But imagine Soda Bar is like a DIY space, and there's no bar. There's just a wall there for no reason. So it's like a wall that made the thing like kind of ridiculous for no reason, you
Just
know?
a random partition.
Yeah,
wall
because
in there.
they're just renting like a little space that was
Yeah.
available in the like an industrial area, you know? And like it was probably a load bearing wall. You can't get rid
Yeah.
of it. Plus, like, you can't pay to put it back up, right? But so in a lot of the ways that like I think the Shea is so awesome, the PCH was awesome because there's no fucking frills. You know what I mean? Like there's no sound man really. I mean, there's a sound man doing like turn on your vocals and maybe miking something. But really, I mean, if you're a shit band, you're gonna sound like shit. No one's saving you, you know? And so like you got to see all these bands come through, and it was like you're basically playing on the floor, and like the vibe was sick. There was always like circle pits and fun, and we drink in the street because it's kind of the hood. And yeah, just had like a ton of good times there. My band Standing Ground played there a few times, and then In Control played there a bunch. And that was really like, you know, when we made really close friends with like Life's Halt and No Reply, and you know, Overman Body would go up and play there. And so kind of like basically I guess every band that Daniel shouts out on like the Pussy song off the first record.
Damn.
You know? What? How would you describe it?
No, that's right.
To
the core?
Yeah. It's a Pussy song. Anyway.
As soon as we have a pod without Daniel. But hey, isn't that funny that we got another Edge dude named Danny,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? So it's
What's your name on your birth certificate?
Daniel.
See?
we're good.
The void is filled.
Yeah.
No, I think Daniel would acknowledge that that's like the song. I mean, you know, In Control had Pussy songs. Two towers total. Anyway,
No, you gotta any song with an ounce of melody.
basically when you're 20. Yeah. You know. All right. So anyway, PCH. That's my my number 5 pick. One of my favorite clubs of all time.
And that had a 4-year run.
Yeah, a 3 or 4 year run, which is a
Which-
pretty long time.
Yeah, so
for a space like that.
And DIY punk years, that's like
Yeah, lifetime.
2 decades at least.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I think that it like, you know, it probably spanned over 2 generations of punk kids. If you figure like the average like time you're in punk is like 2 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah, it was super cool. There was like literally nothing around there. You know, it's just all industrial, so everything shuts down at 5. But I bet I can still find it. It was on the PCH, you know, which is why it was called the PCH Club. But yeah, that's my choice.
Nice.
Let's go your way, Greg.
Let's go, because a good amount of my stuff is California, but I will go pick out a place that we played a lot when Take Offense was touring a lot actively, and it was called the Talent Farm, and it was in South Florida. So it's called area called Pembroke Pines, which is 30 minutes north of Miami.
Okay.
And Florida's just kind of like a bitch to tour in. We
Yeah.
all know this because you just gotta
I
You just have to-
never went. We
Oh, you never.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
no, we
word.
never had the money. So like the furthest we ever went south was Atlanta.
Well, you eat it because of the tolls, and it's just like, dude, you gotta go.
there's backtracking.
So it's definitely tough. But Pembroke Pines, I mean, Talent Farm, it was like a really nice, like, once again, and I'm sure most of these venues are going to be industrial areas or industrial offices, but you know how you have your more like industry ones and then just more like office clerical style
Yeah.
ones. This one was in like a nicer, newly developed one, and it was run by this older dude. I think his name is Ken. No, I was gonna say Ken Burns. That's the Vietnam documentary. Oh man, I'm spacing
Also an
on
awesome
his
dude though.
good. Yeah, shout out to Ken Burns. Amazing documentaries. If you haven't watched one, watch one. But so it's like this older dude. His name might have been Ken, but he was definitely like that old school type, like you're balding, but you still got like the slick back ponytail.
Yeah, dude.
Total like South Florida, like, you know, I could just imagine him like flying planes full of coke in like the 80s or whatever.
He definitely had a summer where he sold cars.
Absolutely. Like kind of sleazy, but what was so cool about him was he just made this like really nice, friendly environment for bands to play music in.
Yeah.
And it was really hooked up. Like it had carpet. You walked in and the stage was high. It was super high.
Okay.
Right. So that kind of made things like a little awkward. So most bands actually played on the floor,
Okay.
which I usually hate that move. But when your stage is like 8 feet high, like you want to fucking play on the floor. It's ridiculous.
Like that stage at U Revolution that's like
Yeah.
chest high.
So,
That's terrifying.
but he
It's awful.
he also had like there was like 2 separate little green rooms.
Okay.
And it was kind of like it's definitely like entry level. I think it was like a 300 cap place. But when you're a hardcore band and you're used to just playing, you know, like shit, either the dingiest little thing next to like some strip mall type spot, right?
Yeah.
So you go in there, it's like, dude, they got carpet. Oh shit, there's like 2 green rooms.
yeah.
Oh, and like, they mic you. And then what was cool as fuck is the dude had like multiple cameras set up.
Oh, sick.
And then he would like film your set and mix it and then cut you a DVD. But like, no, you didn't pay for it.
Damn.
And he just
What a
seemed,
perk.
Yeah, he just seemed like, and at first I was like, dude, what's this dude's angle,
What's
right?
this hustle?
And then we kept coming back and like, dude, he just wanted kids to write music and play music, you know?
But that was his hustle because you kept coming back.
True.
And you're
but-
spouting the glory of him right now. Although you forgot his name.
yeah, so maybe it wasn't
What a dick.
that glorious, but no, but I mean, dude, he probably wasn't making that much money off of this spot because it's not like, I mean, he would get some big shows, but it was mostly like local stuff, and I think a lot of kids like probably practice there.
Yeah.
So
Or another maybe similar one would be the Rock City in Camarillo.
yeah, kind
that
of
place is cool.
similar vibes, and it's just cool when you get kind of a spot run like that actually has money behind it.
Yeah.
And
Because that
it-
has all the practice rooms on the
yeah,
side.
and it has like a parenting vibe to it,
Totally.
but they're also letting you get away with a lot of shit, which most places, and I'm talking about like clubs, like actual bona fide, legitimate, you know, Sunset Strip clubs or the big clubs in New York, would immediately shut you down with.
Sure.
You know, like they were just actually welcoming and, you know, a good positive space for it. I'd watch them like punk out like hard ass dudes outside, like just by talking to them and like that, like kind of like older man style.
Yeah.
So it was sick. So like, I ride for that. And then I think that because there's so many bands from South Florida, there's tons, right? And that's a real poppin' scene, but all those kids like they could start so many bands and play there.
Yeah.
And that's why I started noticing, like, man, this scene's like really cool because every time we come down here, there's the band that sounds like 25 to Life. There's the band that sounds like Floor Punch. There's a band that sounds like, and it was always the same groups of kids, but like they were at least meeting people. And
Yeah.
so it's one of those perfect build it, they will come type situations.
Is
so.
the club still going?
I know I closed down, I think.
Oh, bummer.
So it's a bummer. So he wasn't obviously making that much money.
Sure.
But, you know, respect to him. It was cool.
Total respect. All right, Danny.
I don't know if I would classify it as a club, but we played Fluff Fest out on some like it was like an airport runway outside of Prague,
Okay.
and
That's what fluff is Czech Republic stuff, right?
yeah. But like the stage that we played on was like one of those big ass wedding tents,
Okay.
but they like pulled the sides up and put a stage in, so you could fit like probably like 250 kids underneath the tent.
Uh-huh.
It was just nuts. Like we played during the day and like kids went off. It just seems like one of those places that since they've been doing it for like 20 years, like kids will come like no matter who's playing. But
Yeah.
Fluff's always there
Yeah.
at the same place by that airport.
yeah.
How's that?
Crazy. So rad.
You get clearance from it?
I know. We should get what is it, McLaren Airport or whatever it's right here and at Sarah Mesa.
Or just Slippy Field?
What's the
whatever
little
the
one
fuck.
here? Do you got one?
Oh, I don't.
There's like that Miramar airstrip right there, but that's military.
There's a little airport right here.
Yeah, there is.
Because like the planes go over my pad all the time.
There's that delicious breakfast and brunch spot.
On the south side or the north side of the airport?
Oh, it's called 94th Aero Squadron.
Yeah. That place is rad. So, well, that's cool. Who else played?
Loma Prieta headlined that year, and
What are they?
like a screamo band,
Okay.
like formerly from the Bay Area. Now like they live all over the place. But no, it was cool. Like we were a smaller band, but we got a type of reaction that you would see from like Fury playing a hometown show in Orange County.
Sick.
It was wild.
Shout out to Prague
Yeah,
or
shout
Czech
out-
Republic.
Yeah, we rented a Fluff too. They rent out vans and like equipment backlines too. So we had a driver, Marion. Shout out to him.
You played out there?
No, we never played Fluff Fest, but they also kind of like provide. Like you could hit them up. Oh, you need a van, you need a driver, you need a
Very
backline. Like
accommodating.
yeah, they're kind of like a rental agency too. Like they'll
the
help you
crew,
out.
the crew who runs Fluff does that.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
so they've like branched out too. So
So cool. Shout out Fluff. Time for Fluff to bring Retaliate out. What's up? Anyway. All right. I will go to my number 4. You guys are both going to have it as your number 1, huh? Shay? Let's dig right in and talk
yeah,
about Shay.
let's knock out the elephant in the room.
So, Danny, you're a current volunteer.
Yeah.
How long have you been volunteering?
A bit over 6 years now.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Cool.
So in punk DIY time, that's at least
It's a solid
yeah,
2 generations.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah. Have you noticed a difference in the kids in the last 6 years?
Yeah, we've gone through like 2 or 3 different like iterations of the collective, I would say. It's like pretty much completely new kids from the time I started going.
How many people are there from when you started 6 years ago?
1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just Dylan from who drummed for Drug Control. He's in Vile Reality and Spirited Away now.
What do you know, dude? Hardcore is holding down the Shay. Time to acknowledge it. Jesus Christ.
I mean, not even a hot take.
Who,
You know.
Who built the racks? Who built the racks? Nah. That's... You gotta love the Shay for what it is. And that's just the knock, right?
Yeah.
Is that like maybe a little more acknowledgement that like hardcore holds it up, you know?
I think
that.
it's just one of those, and the comparisons to Gilman will be made. Yeah, obviously Gilman is like the bigger. It's like if the Shay was a 500 capper
Yeah.
in a different area, but I mean it's obviously similar style thinking behind it. But there's, I think, a little bit because it's such a small club, and I would say maybe even pre-internet times too, like the mystique of it probably. And if you did see photos of it, it's like, man, how do you fit a band in there? And then every photo is just this like packed out, gnarly grouping of people swinging from rafters, which is, the MO
Yeah.
there. And I've seen like even you're including myself, just dumb knuckleheads like somehow like look around and be like, oh, not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, which that says a lot too. And I've seen so many people be like, oh, fuck the Shane, whims, fucking words I'm not allowed to say on this podcast or in general anymore. But like they'll show
We
up.
keep it clean over here.
Yeah, they'll show up and like respect the spot because it's just so iconic. So I think the power of it, and I don't know, I feel you can kind of get a little spiritual here, but you can feel that shit. I mean, that thing's been decades, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it
goes back.
Yeah, it's been around. It's survived a lot, and
40 years this year.
yeah, it's so rad. And like like anything, if you're even if you're not a lifer, but if you put in a lot of time in punk and hardcore, you're gonna have a lot of special memories there. I mean, I have a ton. Like I was talking about the PCH, I love the Shade because you can have no gimmicks. If you suck, you're gonna sound like shit. You know, like
Yeah, no, it's an unforgiving room for bands that sound terrible. You will know, and it's like when you watch those good bands or what are considered the greats at that time.
yeah,
That's really the good, like that's like the benchmark right there. It's
It
like
is.
how
It's like
good can you sound at the Shea with
yeah.
literally nothing on you whatsoever?
Yeah.
Because anyone, you can play a spot that's mic'd you up, and you can play like a breakdown part, and you'll sound massive because you're getting mic'd up for the first time, you know.
sure.
But doing it there and sounding like that's what you know what bands really like are worth their salt.
Well, and now especially, right, like, I don't know if you guys have listened to any of the pods that I did with Roger from Retaliate, but he's like an engineer, and he talks about like all the sort of like computer ass like effects. Like you don't even need like a guitar amp anymore. You just like play through a computer that goes through the sound man, and
they have these like heads. I think they're called Kemper profile. I mean, this is when the podcast get nerdy.
No, this is the shit I learned because I'm actually learning about this.
Yeah, so you can go to a studio and like mic up all the different, like all your dream amps and dial them in, do all this crazy shit, get them absolutely fucking perfectly, and then like through magic or programming, it like makes the profile of like the sound. I don't know how the fuck it does that. Magic, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
Well, it's like that ICP song.
yeah, it is a miracle. So you can you can save all those profiles, and like the Kemper head, it's like pretty tiny and it's like lightweight. So if you're traveling, it's great because it's actually like all of your sounds.
Well, plus Roger was saying that like
plug it in.
you can sell your tone and shit.
Yeah, and that's
So like someone can be like let's say Greg really dialed in his tone on this last Take Offense record. People would be like, well, how do you get that tone? And Greg can just like sell it to him, and they just plug it into the little amp or whatever, and like that's it.
they can get the preset. And
Yeah,
then
you get the
take
preset,
it,
and then you go through the sound man.
Yeah,
and,
you don't even need like a Marshall cab or
Yeah.
any type of cab. You can. It's called like going direct, and a lot of technical jargon. Cap meaning capacity earlier in the pod.
it's funny though, like it's going direct. Like it sounds like it's more legit. Like we're cutting out all the bullshit, dude. We just go direct. It's like no, you're doing like the lamest thing ever.
I can't even imagine playing like without an amp.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
especially do you play a Marshall?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds better loud.
Yeah. Totally.
You know,
You know, for the longest time, we've been lucky enough to play like bigger stages with, you know, ridiculous PAs and sound checks that last for like not 5 minutes, right? So once you start, I don't know, if you kind of like graduate into that kind of scene, or especially if your band gets like really bigger and you're playing those like huger clubs and like those places, like you're mostly going off your fucking monitors, you know, like
for
not
sure,
even your
for
amp.
sure.
So that's why some of these bands, they're like, well, I want my amp to sound exactly the same every night, and you will run into differences depending on which club. So if you're able to just like actually profile the amp sound and go direct, you'll, you know, yeah, you can like it will pump out all your monitors and you'll sound great. And I'm never gonna fucking do it. So there you go.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like it's like the age old question: what is hardcore? You know, because like so many bands like break out of like the musical mold that you consider, and it's like, well, it's still hardcore because of the ideas. And then like there's so many like bands that sound hardcore and like their ideas are totally whack. And so it's like, was that hard? What is? And maybe this is it. Maybe we found one dividing line. You know, like if you can't play a place like the Shea and like pull it off, like maybe you're not a hardcore band anymore.
And yo,
you can be a sick rock band.
and like
know?
a testament to this was a Municipal Waste tour we did. You know, we'd meet up with some tour packages and they were like crazy death metal bands that do all that shit, like triggered drums.
Sure.
And I get it because you need it because you're doing the blast and you're playing it so fast. Like, whatever. I'm not knocking it. And then the Kemper heads because they have like 20. This song has like 20 different effects that I need to hit and I need it to be perfect. Whatever. All that shit. That's fine. But Waste just rolled with like Marshall full stacks and no drum triggers.
Yeah.
And it sounded great every fucking night because it was like actual power. I don't know.
It's
It
rock.
felt
It's
right.
rock and roll.
Yeah,
dude.
it's rock and roll shit. It's old school.
You know, like there's
Ew, I said old school.
I mean, like there's got to be something to it, right? Like a tried and true method.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't
Adult
know.
Crash still brings full stacks, even
Yeah.
if they're playing in a living room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, would Jimi Hendrix like have been as rad if he was playing like a fucking
Okay,
one of those?
If he,
Programmable digital head.
okay, all right, check this out.
Like he wouldn't have been as cool if he even
No.
knew how to do that.
if he didn't die, all right, and he went into the 70s, like I already know how this is gonna work. He would have gone into like jazz fusion shit, completely alienate like all of his fan base, right? And then jazz fusion tanks, and no one would care about him. And then the like, assuming in this timeline, Eddie Van Halen comes out, and then Randy Rhoads, all these other dudes.
Yeah.
Like he would have to be forced to make some, like Jimi Hendrix would have had to get like a pink like Jackson guitar and make some type of like record that I totally want to fucking hear because that's probably gonna sound sick.
Well, maybe Jazz Fusion would have died because he would have like hooked up with Herbie Hancock and
There
like
was
that
already-
weird like transitional period.
There was already dudes though like coming in that were already gonna outplay him,
Yeah.
and it's just natural. Like the next generation is just gonna outplay you. You'll still get props. So he would, and then like the 80s would have hit, and then like playing a lead, he would have been fucked in the 90s, and then and then if he, yeah, so
I'm going hungry. Hey. There's no soul in that
Yeah,
song. Huh?
exactly.
That song's just full dog shit.
So yeah, I don't think
I'm going hungry.
Okay. Fuck it, like the way you look at, I don't know, like the way you look at maybe Herbie Hancock, like the way you look at him, it's like oh, there's still people listening to him, but as far as him being like this huge cultural phenomenon or whatever,
Well, I
I don't
mean,
think he would have been that.
He went through a few phases too, and it's debatable of which you like. I actually really like that weird fusion phase. It's probably my favorite.
The Herbie Hancock shit?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's like when it gets really interesting.
Yeah. So that's the Shea. Nah, I mean it's just I think some legacy bands have played there recently and I thought they sounded really not good. And right? Well, I just think you can tell when people have their chops or not, and it doesn't mean that like I didn't have fun. I had a lot of fun. And they did great and the crowd had a lot of fun. But it's just a place where it's like, oh, like you're really not a serious band anymore. You're like this is entertainment, but like you're not
Yeah.
going for it. And like the torch has been passed to serious bands now that actually like care about their craft.
Yeah, because their torch, the flame, isn't burning anymore. So they.
Yeah, you can always tell when a band hasn't played like a DIY spot in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Dylan, who Danny mentioned earlier, is an OG volunteer of 6 years like you, right? Yeah, he's been the last World of Pain show happened there. So shout out to and rest in peace, World of Pain.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands from the area.
So it was like I'm like tensing up. Like I feel like I'm gonna get like a concussion right now. I'm like,
I love it.
I'm looking out for a dude in sweatpants to cartwheel into me. But no, Dylan was doing sound that night, and he's just was he just mic and drums, right?
I wasn't there,
Dude, it sounded.
but I think
he was crushing it. Like,
Oh yeah, Tristan was saying you put a bunch of like reverb on the snare and shit.
you can watch. There's another good YouTube channel, and 197 Media is this a younger guy who goes and films like everything. It's great. He does a really good job. I'd say he's like the West Coast version of like Hate 5-6 kind of
Sick.
vibes, you know.
Say it again, slower.
197 Media.
Yeah.
You can go to his channel and you can look up like the last World of Pain set from there. You can look at the TO set that was there, and like you can hear the sound of like what Dylan was doing to the drums, and like it sounds great because he's just doing the drums only, which really that's all you need to do in that type.
Yeah, and it plays as small as a shade. You know,
Yeah,
you got
and
mic guitars.
it sounds great. So I think it's like the best that's been sounding in a long time.
No,
But
yeah,
also, there was no slackers that night.
No,
That
there-
show was
yeah,
like loaded with serious bands.
true.
You know.
we've definitely been like hustling our ass to get the sound better at Che.
Yeah.
Like I mic'd up those 2 heavy hitter shows recently, and I feel like it sounded way fuller in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just who hooked you up with that PA gear? Did you just figure it out yourself, or?
No, we bought it, and then Matt Otley and Dan Meyer.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
installed
if
it.
Otley was involved.
Yeah,
Shout out Matt Hotley.
Yeah, one
shout out
of
Matt
the,
Otley.
a legend, a San Diego legend. Probably if you've ever watched a gig, a bigger gig in San Diego, he's probably doing sound for it. So
Yeah, should we say anything else about the show? Do you have a favorite show you ever saw there? Or any like standout? You see anyone that was smaller that went on to be big? Like we drove down, I don't remember what year it would have been, but right after that first Saves the Day record came out, and they played there, and it was really, really good.
3-1. I mean, my first, like, technically my first show, like, playing in a band, an actual set in front of people was at the Shea, and 05 would take offense. Literally
cool.
the day I showed up to practice for him. And that's when Spence like asked us last minute, hey, I need like an opener. So for me, that was like huge.
Yeah.
And then a show that was so fun and such a crazy fucking lineup and so weird, but it was also like, I know Spence would like to mix things up like that. It was like PC Death Squad and Take Offense. Like we did our like split 7-inch, which that was huge for me because I was like, holy shit, it actually like I'm on record. Like that's, I mean, that's like the milestone, right? For your
First huge milestone, for
yeah,
sure.
that 7-inch, right? And that show was so fun because they brought like stage extension risers.
Okay.
But who also played was like Force of Change played,
Oh, yeah.
which was like a heavier Orange County like straight edge
Yeah,
band.
Indecision Family.
It was kind of like if Strife was down tuned.
Yes.
know.
They were very strifish.
Yeah, they were really good, and I recommend checking out. I forgot the name of that record, but Force of Change was really
They did
dope.
one LP on Indecision.
Yeah,
It was
and
really
then
good.
dudes, Force of Change, Sinking Ships.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
And then like we played in PC Death Squad, and the Death Squad set was just so fucking fun. Like it was so packed out, and you could actually dive because they brought these like extension risers that they put in
So
front.
sick.
And there was like a cake fight, but that show was
Oh,
like
I remember that. It was
Yeah.
like the cake was like liquefied on the ground.
something. It was, I don't know, it was just one of those like magical, like for
Yeah.
me, it's not gonna get any better than this kind of moment. Just being like young, not having to fucking care, just like going
So
off
cool.
hard. And then damn, I don't know. I mean, you probably, what's like a band that's blown up that's played the Shea? I mean, in our scene, you could probably say like Code Orange, probably.
Yeah, did they
right?
play when they were
Yeah.
coming up?
Yeah, I think they played still when it was Code Orange Kids. I was in Pomona at that time, but like I booked them in Pomona on that tour, so I'm assuming they played Che.
Yeah, and then when Terror did the 25th Hour, we were on tours like Terror, 25th Hour, Code Orange, us.
Bitter End on that one.
Some dates. Yeah, Bitter End played the Shea
Yeah.
date. And I mean, Code Orange played that. I mean, now they're like
Fucking on Roadrunner playing
Re-
huge ass shows.
pretty big. So, but that's my scene. But I know there has to be like some fucking
Well, we talked about
surf rock, indie rock band that's like
Yeah.
headlining Coachella now that played the Shea or whatever.
Joyce Manor and the
Yeah,
and the Garden and both.
A lot of that stuff.
They
well,
blow
Green Day
up.
played there.
Yeah.
Well, Green Day played there.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to.
Go way back.
I didn't
gonna go
see
that far
that,
back.
but
no, of course not. Cool. So, are we just checking that all off ours?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think we got it.
Okay. Who would be next?
I think it goes back to you.
Oh, sick. Well, I want to talk about Gilman Street. I think this is,
That's an honorable mention for
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
okay. Tried and True Club. It's my number 3. Just a perfect venue. Like I never like we talk about being in punk and hardcore like a fair amount of time, and like with a place like the Shea that gets very political, like you're gonna get it a little bit if you're like a dude that speaks your mind. So I haven't been always able to avoid all the politics of the Shea, and I think some people would have the same like outlook on Gilman, like if you live up in the Bay. But I've been able to avoid it because I don't live there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like if you just talk about a perfect punk club, I mean, the stage is perfect, the sound is good, the cap, like the size of the place is perfect.
Yeah.
It's rad, and I've seen a lot of great bands there. I've played there, a bunch of times, and it's always been great. Yeah, I mean, I was saying it's one of the greatest punk clubs in the world, and it's the longevity speaks for it as well.
Yeah, I haven't been there enough. I got to play there. We got to play there one time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little Cali fest they were putting together at the time of whatever hardcore bands
Oh
were
yeah,
active.
Resurrect Kelly.
Yeah, and that was like big for me too because it's like you finally get to like go up here. Because crazy enough, my grandma, may she rest in peace, she lived down the street. Her house was
Sick.
like down the street from right there, so it
Yeah.
was always a trip. Yeah, and also too, I thought the parking was gonna be like terrible, but they got that like long ass road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we were able to like park a van, and it was sick. And yeah, and another one of those like places where you're walking into an institution,
Sure.
know. So it's definitely like you're respectful of the place.
Danny,
And
you've played there a
you-
bunch of times.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's cool the way they do the money. Like,
Yeah,
I thought.
it was.
So okay, so they pull
They
at least.
take you into like the office, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if things have changed. So I'm going like full disclosure. I'm going off. I haven't played this since like 04. But they used to take you in the back. You'd have one representative per band, and then they made a recommendation, which was nice. Like that they give you a starting point, and then it's like if anyone has anything to say, then you can speak up. So it's like they'd say, if Retaliate take offense and Head Count are playing, they'd be like, oh, I think Retaliate should get $1,000 and Take Offense should get 500, Head Count should get 100. So it's like, I'm not saying like that's the real
No,
shit,
but
they
it's
toss
out
it
there.
They toss it out there,
Yeah.
and then it's like Greg can like step up and be like, hey, dude, like Retaliate, they just drove up here for one show. We've been on tour for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice if we could get a couple $100.
I want you to get $1,000 though. That's fine because that's just like $200 for each of you, which you're gonna blow just driving back.
I know.
So it's not even a crazy number, dude.
I know. But anyway, like I appreciate that they like give you a starting point.
Yeah.
And then it's like speak up now and don't bitch later.
Well,
You know?
that's cool too because this is one of those like booking agents hate this guy, but like, no, but it's cool because it gets rid of that like this bullshit like email answering suit element of this shit, and it's like letting the bands like be like, you guys figure it out.
Yeah.
like, you know, and you do it fair, and that will show you like, all right, well, there's no like, well, I'm gonna cry about this later. It's like, no, you guys can all talk about it there.
Yeah, like you have to look the guy in the eye
Yeah,
and be like,
which-
"You're getting paid way too much right
Which
now."
is well, that's fucking huge. Looking eye contact nowadays? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no, that fest we played though, I'm pretty sure we went with the email answering suit approach. Well, I think the dude who booked the fest was like,
yeah.
so he was probably working with that.
Yeah.
So, but I've never done like a one off there. But no, I think more venues should try to do that.
Yeah, it was
know?
cool because, like, you know, we would play there sometimes, like, at the end of, like, a long, like, 4-week tour or something. And it'd be nice, like, the other bands, you know, they're getting, let's say they're only getting $100 or something. They're still, like, hey, toss another 20 from ours to them because they're on tour. And, like, you know, it's like, you kind of remember it. Like, I remember the people that did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still like them.
We've, dude,
You know,
we've done that too. And you kind of like realize maybe some of your peers won't. You know, I remember like, I won't name any bands, but I remember we were in Texas somewhere and like our package got paid and we played this like random somewhere in West Texas, I don't know. And there was some band from Chicago, they're like a heavy ass band, and they kind of like jumped on the show and we were hanging out because Take Offense just hangs out in a parking lot constantly.
about
right.
You know, sounds about right.
Yeah.
So when it was time to leave, like everyone had gone and they came up to us, they're like, yo, like we didn't get paid or whatever. And I was like, oh, you guys did it? You know, it's like, no one paid us, you know. And then I think we like floated them like $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
Least you could fucking do, you know. Which
See-
I was gonna just go whoever was TMing or whether we were supporting. I was like, yo, give us, like that band didn't get paid, man. Come on, like.
I got like the gripe on the opposite end because like In Control used to go and we'd tour the whole way out, and you have all these bands in the summertime that would like fly out and do like a week.
Well, that's still fucking.
No, that's cool.
Happening
It's-
now,
No, I know. Let me finish though. So there'd be like another band, and like maybe they got a 7-inch out or a demo, and we're playing, and like you know the shows are small. There's not a lot of money to go around, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's 2 bands from California. Let's like split it." And it's like, well, there's a difference between our bands. Like they're doing this, like this is their vacation. You know, like they're flying out. This is like a
Yeah,
trip.
you're fucking.
You're
winging
like
it.
you're on like a
Yeah.
nice. You're glamping, dude. You know what I mean? Like they don't need any fucking money. They should have saved up all the money because,
Yeah.
like, you know, like we're out there, we're on a fucking budget. We're trying to live on fucking $10 a day,
Yeah.
so we can successfully make it all the way around the country. Now you got some flyout band, like they got the money for airline tickets. They're borrowing our fucking gear.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
why?
that's
You know, like
that's
why
a
are we?
sin right there?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they got to borrow cabs,
Yeah,
right?
but you should.
Not
There
borrow
shouldn't
from
be.
the
There's
touring
there's
bands.
no even fucking split there.
I know. So that's when I wish there would be like a Gilman at every
Yeah.
fucking at every show. And it's like, dude, you guys are flying out. Like, this is fun for you.
But
You
I
know?
mean, and that's gonna always come down to like promoter, venue / going back to booking agent, which I will hand that one over to you. Like, I mean, like that is, you got to be realistic expectations and then unrealistic expectations and just dealing with just complete total fucking, I'm gonna call them idiots because usually there's just idiots. So
Well, a lot of times, like when Che will get hit up by agents, which isn't that much because people know that we usually just do the shit ourselves.
okay, that's cool.
But like if we do, like they'll ask for like obnoxious ass guarantees, and it's like, well, A, we're not going to pay you that, and B, we don't do guarantees. This is the split you'll get. You can do the math.
And it's a fair split.
Yeah,
it's
and,
a
and
fair split.
We're flexible on it
Yeah.
too. So
What do you do? A 60-40?
60-40 is standard, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's better than you're going to get anywhere else.
But
Yeah.
and I mean, I know you've gone up a little bit depending on certain gigs too. You know, I mean, and a lot of that falls onto like the band might be just like a little too scared on like, oh, how much can we pull? Like, how many people are going to come down here
Yeah.
and watch this? You know?
I mean, yeah, you got to like be like, it's a risk doing a split, but sometimes it can work out. Like we got offered a show once, and I told them, hey, we'll do this split. And then they were like, no, we need a guarantee. So they went through this outside agency. And then when they came and played the show, I broke it down for them. I was like, hey, if you did it with us, you would have walked away with more.
Yeah.
And they're, oh, shit.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I mean, that's why it's a guarantee, right? You're taking that guaranteed money and not like you're not rolling the dice.
I've been on both ends of it, but you need to be if you have a booking agent, he needs to know if he's hitting up an area, like he needs to at least know the area and who's going to actually get a good show together, unless it's like, oh, well, the bar has an entertainment budget, so they're just going to pay, like, they'll just pay your guarantee. Well, guess what? Like, the entire scene hates that place, so no one's going to go.
Sure.
So it's like sometimes you need to think like, all right, well, you know, maybe we'll eat it a little bit, but we're going to make up for it because the show is going to be way better, you know? But
You make up for the merch or whatever, too.
I get it. I see both sides to it. It's definitely like a real, you know, thin line. And with certain bands. And then it's like, for the legacy bands, it's like you got to just like sometimes respect that number because, well, maybe not so much, but they're ones that you should be like, no, that makes sense.
Sometimes, though, it's just
Yeah, sometimes.
through the fucking roof obnoxious.
Yeah.
I was so
and it's like-
surprised that the judge show was able to come off because going from like the Irenic, which is
400.
yeah.
that's only a 400 cap.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it feels huge. So what's Shay like $160? What's the fire marshal say?
170.
Okay, damn, I was close.
Well,
Yeah, you were on it.
We had to,
And I tried to go to Soma in between.
yeah,
Which
well,
is 600.
Okay.
Well, Danny and I had to break down the walls for that one to happen.
No, that was Youth of Today where we had to like.
Yeah, I didn't want to say their name.
Ah,
I was doing puns. No,
Jesus.
and no slack towards YOT and Sammy's fucking awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
But dude, we were like, to make that happen, like the amount of like just stupid fucking email chain nonsense of just like, just play here, don't play the bar show, your Youth of Today,
yeah,
like whatever.
yeah.
Finances for that judge show were a little wonky though, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the dudes lost money.
Yeah.
They brought it to us.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they went through a middleman. that
Yeah.
guy. So sorry, I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah.
So a dude pays
It always
judge.
starts with a dude.
I thought whatever.
dude.
Yeah, I know. Never mind. I'm not working this
So
out.
that one was like brought to us through an outside agency.
Yeah.
So like Che, we were like, hey, you need to cover X amount of dollars for that night, and then you get whatever from the door.
Yeah.
So even after like whatever they got from door and ticket sales, like they still lost like $400 or $500.
I don't know.
Which that's not
not
in
t-
promoter world.
It could've gone a
especially-
lot worse, yeah.
Especially if you're like
That sucks
really
though. Then
active.
then the door price just should have been like $3 higher.
Well, can welcome to raising $3 more at the punk show, dude.
Hey, dude,
they're
I'm
gonna
telling
fucking-
you.
they're a riot.
I don't
Fucking
know.
Be so mad.
I don't know. There's just certain shows like I've said before, like I'm so glad that like Madball and Agnostic Front come to San Diego every year, almost every year, every other
Yeah.
year maybe. But like we're not left off the schedule, and like a lot of bands skip here, you know,
Yeah.
because Orange County's close and Orange County's close to LA, and it's like I guess if you really want to go, you'll go. But dude, a lot of us are busy and like. You know, I want to like have a couple cocktails, take an Uber, you know, and dude, I would literally pay $50 to see Madball or AF like every time they come through, as long as it ensures they keep coming. You know what I mean? Like there's just these legacy bands that like I don't know. I want to support.
You're
it.
in such a minority.
Yeah.
Like that mindset is such a minority. And maybe you and I, Danny and I, can go into this deeper at kind of the end of the pod and leave it just in the general discussion of venues because it ties into so many like.
Well, I don't know. I also don't ever ask to be on the guest list because like if I have the means to pay, it's like, well, I should pay, and then some kid that can't afford to be in, like he should ask to be on the guest list. The only time I ask for a guest list is if it's sold out.
It's trying to book shows and make everyone happy. You're literally fucking Edward James Olmos with a comb over saying, like, how do I reach these kids? Like, it's fucked. It's so fucked.
All right. Moving on.
So that was Gilman.
That was Gilman. That was Gilman. Gilman Street rules.
Yapping.
Yeah.
Am I up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do another one, and not someone would say they're totally different places, but okay, Sacramento is not the Bay. I apologize.
No.
Anyone from Sacramento or the Bay, you can punch me in the face for even remotely thinking that you guys are similar. Because I would get mad if someone was like San Diego and Orange County are the same thing, because they're fucking not. But anyways,
Although
Don't even
most
fucking start.
although most Warriors fans were probably all Sacto Kings fans from the 2000s. Let's be real.
I mean,
Kobe.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
You gotta, yeah, bummer. But hey, you know,
No, I mean that's
It's
my
sad.
favorite Sacramento memory is the Lakers always smashing on Sac. But
hopefully Mike Hood's not listening to this.
I love Mike Hood.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what you're gonna say, right? West Coast Worldwide.
Well, because when we were rolling through Sacramento, I don't think it was shows were happening there,
Okay.
or I think it was more like because it's kind of like a barber shop, I believe.
Oh, did he do his barbershop in the same spot? Well, that's smarter.
I could be off totally, but the one I was gonna bring up was a spot called Branch Street.
Okay.
It was the house off of Branch Street, and my Sacramento geography is fucked up. I have no idea.
No.
But maybe slightly kind of in the hood, but it was just like a straight skinhead house, and it was all like the dudes from Pressure Point and dudes from Plead the Fifth, like Gutto and like Mike from Pressure Point, and like all these dudes, and they got this house, and it belonged to like a trucker, right? So in the back of the house, the trucker dude built like this huge ass garage for his semi. And then, you know, that dude bailed, so they got the house. I don't know if they bought it. I don't know if they bought it or they're renting it, but they're like, dude, like this venue's fucking like we could throw. It's like you could fit 200 people in there, and the backyard
sick.
was huge, so it was like a big lobby. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
So, and it was so dope because it was just like, it was so fucking skinhead because they just built the stage, like painted a big ass crucified skin on the wall, and it was just so like, I'm getting chills like even talking about it. It was so fucking dope.
Yeah.
And I remember we rolled up there and like played our first show there with like Naysayer. It was such a sick scene, and it was so tight.
How many
And,
kids went to you and Nacer?
I mean, there was probably like over 100 on a
Sick.
weekday. So
On a
that was
weekday.
fucking, it was killer, you
That
know?
rules.
And then, dude, but then even bigger shows like Trapped Under Ice rolled through. Like they actually got like, you know, a good amount of bands, and those shows were killer. And it was dope because it was like the perfect type of like you can come here, you can have a fun time, don't fuck up,
Yeah, of course.
because you'll get checked very quickly.
Yeah.
But everyone like knew the deal, and it was just like a great vibe. It wasn't even one of these just like, because when you have that don't fuck up vibe at your show, you kids aren't gonna have fun because they're like, well, I can't even go off because I'm gonna get beat up by like 15 grown men, and I'm a child. But that was like, I mean, they were just very like, it was organized, and they were like looking out. And
Well,
it was a
the
great
Bay has
vibe.
always been like in the Bay, and then if we want to say Sacramento's not the Bay, the NorCal areas, so the Bay plus Sac, they've always been so good at self-policing like that, right?
Yeah.
And really looking out for like, I mean, that area has like done the best job of like the people within these walls like are not the problem. Like really kind of
No,
believing
yeah.
in unity
Absolutely.
and like looking out for anyone, because like, man, it was a bunch of different people. Like when I used to go up a fair amount, like a bunch of different types of people, you know, from like tough guys to straight edge kids to skinheads to whatever. And it was just like, it was real unity and like everyone looking out for everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
They are the actual human embodiment of an old agnostic front flyer. Like,
it's, yeah. And also like self-policing like that, you know, like, I mean, yeah, perfect for that. Like, I think I told this story before, but after that like those dudes got fucked up at the floor punch show at like the Cocodrie, there was like a dude at the door, like when you're leaving, because like the Nazis, like they said they're coming back, you know, like the two that got out, like the one was like in a coma and then two got away. And they're like, we're coming back or whatever. So like when you were leaving the show, they actually like made sure that you had a buddy with you, like
That's
to
so
go to your
dope,
car,
yeah.
you know, because like if you were just a dude that went to the show by yourself, because you know in San Francisco, you're better off not having a car.
Yeah.
You walk everywhere. So like, yeah, if fucking,
Yeah,
and I apologize, if my memory's not right, but I remember Doug always being around. Doug that played in
Doug
Terror,
Weber.
Doug Weber, and they might he might have been the guy they sent with you. Like, oh, you don't got a buddy here, and Doug would like walk with you to your car.
That's so
You know,
sick.
Damn.
yeah, it's like, so, dude, shout out to NorCal for that shit.
Yeah, and you can tell that that's still like a legacy that's like passed on to the younger kids, because we just did a tour with a Higher Power, Drain, and Life's Question. And Drain's from San Jose, and San Jose has like a lot of like similar vibes in their scene right now, and you could definitely tell it's very like they're like a unit and they're like looking out. It's really cool to see that like legacy being like passed down. And
It's cool too being able to like express yourself within hardcore and punk, right? Like you can be whatever like little like segment of the scene you want. You know, like you can be like the dude with like the Osrotten ass flap and like it's cool. You know, or you can be a
Yeah.
skinhead, or you can be a straight edge guy, you know, whatever. Like
but they're all actually like at their own shows, like they're all hanging out together and
Yeah.
like doing shit together, whereas down here that's so separate. No one wants to mingle, kind of.
we're a little more spread out, no?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the problem with Southern California is it is such an urban sprawl
yeah.
that like, you know, even if we're not like, I don't like to go south of North Park and I don't go north of the 52. So,
Why would you?
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
trapped in my own little area, dude.
I mean, what else? What is north of 52? Che? Like that's
Oregon.
yeah.
I just feel like that's
San Diego
that's
straight to Oregon.
yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be my pick, which would be Brant Street. So I put down 3 so far.
That's sick, and I want to shout out to West Coast Worldwide too, because when it was around, if it's not around anymore, it was super sick. When we played there, when like there was no stage, you played on the floor, and then when Mikey Hood put in a stage, that place was fucking near perfect, like near perfect little club.
Let's talk about stage height. What do you want?
Probably hip high, and I'm 6 feet tall.
Yeah,
So what would that be? 3 feet, 2.5 feet,
yeah.
Yeah.
2.5, 3 feet.
What about you?
Probably about that.
2.5.
Like that's probably the
anything
perfect height, whatever that is. That's probably
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
feet.
That's
It's 2.5 feet.
yeah.
Yeah, about
That's
2.5.
That's
Glad-
probably
glad
perfect.
we're all pointing at something that they can see.
know.
In this
Great radio.
podcast.
Okay, guys, get a tape measure.
There is one in that.
Okay, well, make sure you leave a remark about your
Actually, I'm going to
ideal.
tape measure that because I think that is the.
Yeah, let's see.
That's a perfect height.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything between like 2 and 3 feet is like a solid height. If we're jumping to like 5, 6 feet, like some venues are, it's fucking obnoxious.
The tape has been rolled.
Oh shit!
It looks like that's 2.5, right?
30 inches.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
30 inches is right.
That's perfect. Yeah, you get anywhere in there. That's ideally what you want. Because then you can actually get like a good dive with style, and your risk of injury is minimal.
yeah,
But it's still low enough that like, did you ever go to Showcase Theater?
yeah.
I never got to get up to the showcase show, unfortunately.
Like, I feel like the stage wasn't super high.
It was maybe a little bit higher than
It
that.
looked. I've
Maybe a
seen
little higher.
videos of that. It looked like 4 feet, maybe.
No. Because people got rejected there. That was like when I first like that was like a thing, dude. When I started going to shows there, I was like, I don't ever want to be that guy, because you'd see like in those packed shows when there was like 500 people there, people would go to like stage dive and shit, and
just get
the front
fucking
row would like
blocked.
block them.
really.
And it's like if you couldn't get through, like these motherfuckers would like get stuck on stage
oh,
and like
okay,
and be
okay.
trying
I
to
thought you meant,
dive.
like rejected, like like out of the venue.
No. Like they're trying to dive. They're getting rejected by like the first 2 rows because they can't dive past them.
Yeah,
but
you
it wasn't
you
like
couldn't get tall enough over the people.
yeah, but it wasn't
yeah.
but it wasn't like a low stage. It must have been 2.5, 3 feet.
No, that makes sense because
And
there's
you-
like a hate breed set from that from like Satisfaction era,
Uh-huh.
and it's like dudes cannot get off of there. Like
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, that was a thing. And I'd be so scared. So like anytime I went there and like was gonna stage dive, like fucking went for it. You know, like it kind of created my whole stage dive style, which is more like a bowling ball.
Good move.
Yeah, I'm gonna take out like the front dude. It's also usually I try to clear the front dude and then grab the second neck. But anyway, that's a little too technical. Moving on, Danny.
I'm gonna keep it that inland California, and we're gonna hit CYC in Fresno.
I got that on my list too.
It's a solid spot.
I've only
It
played
ha-
Fresno once in my life, and I can't remember where it was.
I played CYC a few times, and we played this like info shop that was like literally around the corner from CYC. But CYC is another place that had like a 2.5-foot stage, but no one ever played on it. I played there like 3 or 4 times, and I've never seen anyone play on that stage.
We played on that stage.
Okay, so I guess it does happen, but
Now, would some bands put the drums up there? You have like a drum riser?
we never did.
Yeah,
but
well,
I'm
we-
sure.
AH just fucking rabies it every time anyway.
Oh, word.
So that means you sing on the floor. For people that don't know,
Yeah.
that was a Warzone staple. But anyways,
But yeah, that spot was sick. Like it's another one of those like DIY spot run by friends. I think the second time we played there, we were playing 2 shows. We did a matinee in Bakersfield and then CYC at night. And something fucked up happened. We left Bakersfield late, hit like a fuckload of traffic. We didn't roll up to CYC until like 9. And they're like, oh yeah, we just waited to start the show until you showed up.
dude.
And like a gang of kids were still there. Like kids went off even though the show started like 9 p.m.
Yo, yeah, and
That's
that
sick.
was for people listening to this that aren't from California or haven't drove up the 5 or whatever. What Fresno is a big agriculture
Yeah.
town, big farmland town, right? So people that are rude will be like, "Oh, the place is just fucking no man's land," right? Or it's just it's nothing. AKA, it's like it's not a big urban area, so it has nothing going for
I think
it.
Fresno's got 500,000 people.
Yeah,
probably.
you know, so there's a good amount of people in that area, and I think even the spot where the CYC was, I mean, I'm trying to remember it because it's like everything's kind of like abandoned around it.
Yeah,
right?
it's like the Chinatown area of Fresno, but
Yeah.
there's like nothing
There's
around it.
nothing there, and I remember there was like a homeless encampment like down the street,
Yeah.
and so there's like a like that, and it's one of those like perfect spots where like no one's gonna bother
Yeah,
them. No,
totally.
you can do whatever you want,
Uh-huh.
and the scene there, like you said, just like waiting, be like, oh, we're fucking going to the show, and like, dude, I like every time we rolled through there, or if I saw other bands, like that scene just went off, man.
Yeah.
Like they were hungry for bands. I haven't been up there, so I mean, I'm sure they still are, but like they actually were like, oh, we're here. Like they were diehards, and it was
Yeah.
like so refreshing because it was like, I don't know, you'd go play LA and it's not like the planets didn't align right enough, so no one went to your show or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like at the cool spot that was conveniently located for this spot. And that cool, like not enough right bands were playing. So it's like, I don't want to watch this. Like the Fresno shows were just like sick.
Well, I
like-
think we talked about it on a previous pod, right? That I was so confused that Fresno didn't pop back when I used to play more, like in the early 2000s, because it would make such perfect
Yeah.
sense. Because another, like an honorable mention on my list is Jerry's Pizza in Bakersfield, and it's always been a staple. I think it's been around
I've
like
never rolled through
since
never
I've been going to
played
shows.
Bakersfield.
You guys should go play there.
Yeah.
You guys should go play there because it's been there forever.
I hear good things about Bakersfield.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and I saw Madballs playing there on their next tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about going out just for nostalgia because I haven't been to Jerry's Pizza in probably Retalia played there with the Warriors maybe 5 years ago. It's still super sick. In fact, it's better. They like extended the stage downstairs. It's a very small space because it's in the basement of a pizza spot.
Sick.
And so I think they extended it out. It used to like be really skinny.
What a winning
now it's a
combo,
Dude, it is a winning combo.
Fuck.
You know, and it's just some dude. Like Jerry is just some dude. Like he's not like an old punk or anything. He's just like a guy that's like, you know, Bakersfield would be a lot worse off if there wasn't like kids playing music.
Those are the best kind of spots, and that's why I like that spot in Florida so much. Like when you have like this dude or some person,
Yeah,
and they don't know anything about punk or hardcore, but they're like, the kids are crazy, but they're nice.
yes,
And
exactly.
they're like, I'm gonna do the
You know what
bare
else? They
minimum
fucking
here.
like pizza.
Yeah, fuck
You
it.
know?
Like those are the best spots. Like you kind of play in front of that. You play like the character runs it instead of like the kid that's gonna hand you an envelope and not make eye contact with you.
Right.
You know.
I feel like Bakersfield's like another like Fresno type spot though, where like there's not much going on. So when something happens, like you're
They're
gonna
there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, completely. And that's why I think of them in a line because from Oxnard, it's about 2 hours to Bakersfield. And I believe that Fresno is about 2 hours after Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So, like, for us, if Fresno was popping in the IC days, I mean, that would have been a sick weekend for
Yeah,
us
straight
anytime,
up.
you know? But unfortunately, there was, like, really nowhere to go other than Bakersfield. The bay was too far. And then, like, Bakersfield sits on one side of this mountain range. And on the other side, there's just, like, I don't know, Mojave. You got Tehachapi up in the hills, but that was,
Yeah.
like, the same kids as the Bakersfield kids. So, yeah, Tehachapi was cool, too. We played up there a bunch, too. Yeah. Do you want to go on more about Fresno?
I think we kind of covered. When did CYC start? That has to be like late 2000s ish, right?
Yeah, probably like early 2010s.
So a couple years after IC,
And it's still going?
I haven't rolled through. We haven't rolled through there. I don't know.
technically it is closed.
Okay.
Technically,
So something's happening.
maybe shows happen in Fresno still
Cool.
at a place.
At a spot, an underground spot. Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink,
Wank, wank.
wink, wink.
Yeah. Yeah, because Retalia never played anywhere north of Santa Barbara. Unless you count Sweden. So,
Yeah, that's.
it's a jump.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a good out of town show, though, right? Like,
Santa Barbara to Sweden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who's?
I guess that would bring it back to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say number 2 for me is this might be the best club in the history of Earth, right? CBGB's, New York City. I went there one time. It was in the year 2003. I believe it was In Control, Most Precious Blood, and American Nightmare.
Damn. Well, that's got to be a good show in that
Solid lineup.
time period or that area, right?
Yeah, I feel like there should have been a fourth band.
Most Precious Blood is Long Island, right?
I think that the city, right? Brooklyn? I don't
I
know.
didn't think they were from the city.
I don't know. One of the guys is like a city councilman now.
I don't know.
Or I don't well, because Indecision became them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who like made the jump.
Yeah, no, it was Indecision first, then Most Precious.
Yeah.
Blood.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the dudes is like a city councilman in the city.
Yeah, I saw.
No, I
I
think-
that.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember if there was a fourth band, is what I'm saying. Not that there should have been a fourth band. But dude, the fucking place was like everything you imagine. You know, like inside it was just as grimy as you think it would be, but then like the sound was fucking ridiculous. It might have been the best sounding place I've ever been in.
I've always heard,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can watch from a video too. Like
Oh, yeah.
even old videos from like early '80s, like that sound's cutting through.
It was so rad. It's one of my favorite memories. Of course, getting to play there before it shut down, and But then also like one of my biggest regrets I've talked about on here before is just that we didn't have the money to like pay for the soundboard recording.
Fuck yeah.
Because like I think it was because we were spoiled by this other club I'll talk about called the Living Room in Goleta, because they would just you give them a tape, they record it for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure CBGB's the dude dialed it in a little more and made it sound good and shit, instead of it's just like here's the soundboard. But yeah, it was just like $75 or whatever it was at the time was like too much, which sounds fucking ridiculous now. You know, that we couldn't be like, can each guy just chip in $20? But then it was like, I don't know. We were literally living off $10 a day.
Yeah, no. I mean,
You know?
that makes sense.
So it's like, that's a lot of money.
When you played there, and, you know, this is at that time, so were people already saying, like, it's going to close down? Like, was there, like,
Well, I
the
think
fear of that place going?
but I think it's similar to like how people always say like the Shay's gonna close down, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that people have probably been saying the CBG was gonna close down since fucking 76.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't remember. I don't specifically remember, but I do have a few memories of the show. First off, I remember that like I feel like there wasn't anywhere to put your equipment, so it was one of those spots where like it goes. There's a stage, but then there's like, you know, there's a space to walk by on the side of the stage, which is where you like put your equipment. So we're like, oh, like the stuff is safe there, like because there's not gonna be people. It's all equipment. And then it was like when American Nightmare played, it was just fucking chaos, and like I see my head getting like stage dived down to and shit. Like, oh my god, fuck.
Well, when Hilly built the place, I don't think he ever thought it was ever going to be packed out, right?
No, but they've had a lot of time of a lot of stage dives going over that way. I think that like, I don't know, maybe there could be maybe they should have hired you to build some racks.
Shit.
Something.
Well, we'd have to go to wherever airport the banners is hanging at, right?
But
Still go to the bathroom in that like what handbag store that is now. Didn't they keep the bathroom?
oh, I'm sure. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, you probably take a selfie, whatever.
But anyway, and it was just like, I wish we recorded because it's the most dialed in we could have possibly been. You know, the 2-week mark on tour.
Yeah, you're fucking, you got that shit.
You're so dialed in, you don't even got to look at the set list.
Yeah, you're good.
You know, you almost don't even have to hear clicks, you know, like your count offs and
Go
shit.
off
And
cues,
it's just like, yeah.
It's the best.
But it's before you burn out. You're like, I fucking hate that guy. You know? Like you're still healthy. You haven't gotten like sick of all like the fungus buildup in the van, or like the fact that like you've eaten way more like fucking bean burritos from Taco Bell than like any human should ingest in a lifetime. And you've done it in 2 weeks. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, CBGB's literally lived up to the hype. And I can't imagine, you know, having that be like a venue you got to go to forever. Like that's so rad to have that be like a central venue for the people that lived in that area.
Yeah. Was it like kind of like the pilgrimage for you? Like, did it feel kind of like that being?
Yeah, I mean, like
it has to, right?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like how, but I felt the same way going to Gilman the first time.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
You know, like it is awesome. And also, I kind of felt that way about playing a place in Chicago called the Fireside Bowl, because like I really, really liked a lot of the 90s Chicago punk bands, and they all had played there. And then to get to play there was like really cool too. Yeah. So CBGB's my number 2. Greg.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered Shay, CYC, Talent, Farm, Gilmer's honorable mention.